Namaste. Thank you for having me here. So today, I'll talk about the life system that all of us are a part of. Now, this life system, essentially, we navigate throughout our lives. Now, if we were to actually decode what this life system is about, we feel there are three significant subsystems that this life system has: the living subsystem, the learning subsystem, and the livelihood subsystem. Now, each of these subsystems, they have their own structure, order, and value systems that we all kind of get adapted to. And we move from one to the other, making sense of each of these. And also figure out how to be in each of these while keeping ourselves together. Now, if this living, livelihood, and learning systems were separate like this, they also throw up a whole lot as we navigate them. Now, if we were to call these three separate systems, which are separated out, as fragmented life system, we feel that they are siloed. They don't actually tap on the synergies that are available from each of these. Now, living, for example, happens normally in modern households, in modern lifestyles, in insular houses. These houses which are cut off from the society or the main community. Now, within the houses, also there are these separate spaces for each one of us, the way they are designed, compartmentalized, where members of each family are also quite disconnected from each other. This is the living subsystem that we have created. The learning subsystem, which again happens, mainly learning happens in these as part of schools and colleges and other educational institutions, we end up turning children into dependent receivers rather than offerers, and for quite long time in their lives, they remain receivers. Livelihood subsystem again happens away from the living or learning spaces. Livelihood, the expertise which is exercised in a livelihood subsystem is not available to the living and learning spaces because it happens away in a different space. Now, this fragmentation does something to us as we navigate these systems. This disrupts the interconnectedness, and this interconnectedness is actually required for a cohesive society. And what happens if this interconnectedness is not available to us? We feel like fragments. Thanks to this fragmentation, a certain narrative or a certain toxic culture also is seeping in, which in terms of parameters of success, benchmarks of growth, development, competition. Now, if we were to chase these benchmarks, what ends up happening is that a minority thrives and the majority gets sidelined. So this is what we are trying to focus on. What happens if the majority is getting sidelined? We are experiencing this, and it's very evident that there's a growing disparity amongst various levels in the society, and the majority is struggling to keep pace. The majority is feeling that there's unfair access to resources. They are not getting all the resources that is required. The majority also is feeling that the respect and dignity that is required to lead a healthy life, a life of dignity, is evading them. Learning opportunities are unequal. Intelligence in terms of, an average intelligence is now gone just far beyond. Abilities, whether it's physical abilities, cognitive abilities, different abilities, are not getting their fair share. The society is not paying, equitable distribution of wealth is not there. So when all this happens, this disparity just keeps growing. In this scenario, how do we look at what is normal? How does each person feel that, yeah, my normalcy is respected, My normal abilities have a place in the society. When supernormal is normalized, the normal appears subnormal, and that's the reality. Which leads us to the question, therefore, that what is our normal? What is normal human nature? What is normal human pace? What is normal human scale? Are we even in touch with it? Are we in touch with our species being? What is our species being? How do we ought to lead our lives? That well-being of the larger ecosystem is also kept in mind. Karl Marx had explored it quite some time back, and which is the reality today. We are suffering from a sense of alienation from the self, alienation from community, and alienation from social issues. And we see the manifestations in the current system where, mental health, to the extent that it has gone and we are not able to handle certain issues ourselves, we need help in these areas. Societal issues of whether it's traffic jams or whether it's pollution, air pollution or water scarcity, these are issues of society. Are we even in touch with, that our lifestyles are leading to these? So therefore, what is the role of development in all of this if we are not able to? So getting in touch with this species being becomes important for us, which leads us to the next thing of, therefore, change, whether it's required or not. And we feel in this scenario, if not change, what else? And change also for what? We feel to get to the core of things would be to change, to get to the core of reconnecting to ourselves, reconnecting to our indigeneity. Reconnecting to ourselves would mean to know the inner and outer aspects of ourselves, our indigeneity, to reconnect to our land, our culture, our roots. I think reconnection helps us value what we have, helps us respect all that we have and sustain it, and ensure that everybody's well-being is kept in place. Whenever we talk of change, this whole thing that, so whether we should reinvent the wheel, what's the need for it? And we feel if actually we have to get to the core of things, we do need to reinvent the wheel. Why not? Why not reinvent the wheel? Because reinventing the wheel actually means getting in touch with the core, getting in touch with, or getting in tune with what the context needs. What are the demands of the context? If we don't reinvent the wheel, we'll be busy just running the wheel. We'll not know what is required to mend the systems, to mend the broken loops. So we'll need to, probably the change for this current time means to reinvent the wheel. As an example, if we look at the current learning mental models, and what they are rooted in, probably that's why we need change. The current learning mental models seem to be rooted in a collective deficient self-worth, where, all of us, the caregivers, collective deficient self-worth of the caregivers, whether it's parents or teachers or guardians of children, their insecurities, their fears, their own inadequacies are getting transferred to the next generation. The mental models rooted in a scarcity mindset, and a perceived scarcity of time, of space, of urgency, that there's not enough time, we need to do it fast. What if the child grows up? He wouldn't have learned whatever needed to be learned. So this whole perceived urgency and scarcity of time is what seems to be running, the current learning setup. Mistrust in the adequacy of the learner, that the learner won't know if not guided. Somewhere also talks about the control that the adult is exercising. Probably it's need for control of the adult rather than mistrust in the child's abilities. Non-inclusive behavior, and we've seen this happen over the years, whether it's through caste system or through religion or through, literacy, illiteracy. Somebody will have to be excluded. illiteracy will not get paid as much as literacy would, or certain kinds of skills would. So non-inclusive behavior is prevalent. Vision or nature of aspirations, in a learning setup, what kind of a vision we are running with? Are we saying vision of learning is to take care that everybody, at an individual level and at a community level thrives? Or are we saying only my knowledge increases and my earning capacity increases? It's okay if the community issues remain unsolved. So I think this is where the current learning mental models are rooted in. And what we feel is if we continue to live in a siloed, fragmented, compartmentalized life system, this will continue to happen. Probably change in this scenario would mean to move towards congruence of a nested life system, a life system where livelihood, living, and learning are together. They overlap. If livelihood would mean securing life essentials, then one would focus a whole lot on what are my life essentials? What are those non-negotiable life essentials that are required for me to run a healthy life? Then living is defined as organizing life around these life essentials. And learning happens as a consequence of both of these. Then learning is not an intervention. It happens as a consequence. This is what we are calling a nested life system. Then the abundance and the richness of this whole system is available to everybody. And if we were to say that, a congruent life system, what kind of mental models would it have? We've just put some points together. The first one is the child is, period. The child is not a blank slate. Child is not a vessel to be filled, but the child is ready already, age-appropriate readiness. But the current mental model talks about that the child will have to become, is work in progress, is on the way to becoming an adult. But we are saying actually the child is. We are then operating from a mental model of adequacy and not inadequacy. I think that's what the congruent life system offers. The next one is when in such a congruent system, context is the content. If we start thinking of this, actually look at the abundance that all living moments are learning moments. What an abundance that has become available to us. So rather than a scarcity mindset of, oh, this is not enough, we need to learn more, we need to know more, there's so much more to do, to an abundance that we have it here. While we are living, learning is happening. I think that mindset gets offered here. Uniquely unique child. Now, if the uniqueness of each child or of each individual is understood well, then we feel that, one formula doesn't fit all. Each adult caregiver will have to think different formats. The same learning methodology will not apply to all. The same evaluation will not apply to all. Then the child is not a product. It's, it's a process that one will have to, that the process that evolves. This is a format of acceptance. And an inclusive society will respect, uniqueness of each kind, where the different abilities, different intelligence levels, different races, wherever people come from, different backgrounds. Play is primal, and play is instinctive. If this was the format that, was applied, then children actually, they say that, children don't play to learn. Actually learning is happening while they are playing. So this play is not the structured play we are talking about. This play is the attitude of play, the idiom of play, that, the learning happens as they learn. It's first-hand experience that the child actually gets of everything, and everything is in the child's grip then. And it's self-initiated. The person enjoys the whole learning process, and the instincts are at play. The instincts of various kinds, whether it's inborn instincts, imbibed, or induced. Now, there's an age appropriateness for all these instincts to actually unfold. If we don't allow that time, and play actually allows this time for all these instincts to unfold. The last one is learning as a consequence of living. So therefore, if all this happens, there are active feedback loops at play. This whole experience gives meaning to what the child is, getting from this. There's a process of meaning making happening from which the choice making is happening, and the loop is getting closed. The whole part and the whole and the part is available for reflection, for introspection, and the agency is with the child. So this whole, the mental model of adequacy and not inadequacy, from scarcity to abundance, from acceptance, instinctive and agency leading kind of a, format. I think mainly it is that if learning is a consequence of living, why have we turned it into an intervention? Human beings are the only species that force their little ones into time and space boxes and indoctrinate them. Does any other species in the animal kingdom do that? We need to think. Time to change, time to think. That's the question I'm leaving everyone with. Thank you.